Dana White Contender Series is back, and I cannot believe we are already 8 weeks into this season, but I'm very much excited for this card. As always, 5 fights in the UFC Apex, and I'm going to be breaking down every single one of them, starting at the bottom, working my way to the top. So let me know in the comments below what bets you already have locked in. Let me know your favorite underdog on this card, because I think it's a pretty tough card, but there's some fights I'm really excited for. Make sure you click the like button, click subscribe, turn those post notifications on. I got a very special episode of Wager Wars coming on Wednesday live on my YouTube here at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have DFS by the numbers. A lot of you guys, if you're here, you probably know him. OG in the community, taking on Evan, who's 1-0 so far in Wager Wars. Did really good, went up like 8 units on his first appearance. So it's going to be a good, fun matchup, and we got great fights, UFC 307, to talk about, break it down, and we'll see who wins. So tune into that Wednesday night, and if you miss it, go to the live tab, but turn those post notifications on so you can catch it live. Let's get to this first fight on the card. We got Christian Savoie taking on Jacoby Smith. Biggest favorite on the card here for Jacoby Smith, and obviously coming in with the high wrestling credentials. I think it was Oklahoma State. I could be remembering wrong, but high level wrestling for sure, and clearly as an athlete, clearly has taken his career seriously. Only 28, so these are the type of guys that Dana and the UFC are looking for. So you can understand why he's a big favorite. Also, looks to be rounding out his skill set pretty well, but it's tough to say how good his striking is when you're knocking these guys just out cold. And who are these guys? I mean, I could go through his resume for you, but there's really nobody you'll know. And 99% of you won't be able to name me one of his opponents. And, I can't blame you for that. They're doing what they should be doing. They're building up a young prospect with when you have that wrestling background, I really encourage him to slow it down. He's getting some work in with Fortis. He's getting some work in with AKA. He's got a good group of guys around him. I'm sure, they're going to get him right. And he should be the big favorite. But, on the other side, Christian Savoie, we got a dangerous striker. Do I think he can stuff the takedowns of Jacoby Smith? Probably not. But on the feet while it lasts, and, his fight start on the feet, I think he probably is the more technical striker here. Jacoby Smith is mostly winging just power shots, and it's been working. And when you have the threat of the takedown, too, you're going to find a lot more openings. But, I think on the feet, Christian probably could, chop away at his legs. Probably just has the better kicks overall. And, I haven't seen really anybody with any striking fight Jacoby. So, he shouldn't have to strike, but it's Dana White Contender Series, man. We talk about it every week, and every week we see it. These guys don't want to just lay on somebody for Contender Series, and I don't know if it doesn't seem like his jiu-jitsu is quite there yet. So I don't know if he just takes him down in the first time he takes his back. I will say, if there's somebody who can submit, I won't say that considering he's fought a lot of low-level guys. But, he's not even really needing to try to submit them. He's just knocking them dead, making a highlight reel. In this fight, maybe he can find a submission. I think he only has, one submission? I think he Runic choked a guy. No submissions. He just has a couple ground and pound wins. He ground and pounded, several guys, and now he's just been knocking dudes out on the feet. But, I think he should win, but, these lines get a little crazy. It's Contender Series. Dude's 8-0, fought absolutely nobody. So I'm going to pick him to get the knockout via ground and pound, but tough to bet minus 650 on that, man. Moving on, we got Abdullah Er-Ramy taking on Torres Finney. Torres Finney making his third appearance on Contender Series, and he's 2-0. Won the first fight by Runic choke, and it was a pretty good performance, but Dana wanted to see more, told him to stay active, and then, came back, had a second fight. It didn't go as smooth, wasn't able to get the finish, and a decision, unless it's like an absolute bloodbath on Contender Series, Dana's not going to be satisfied, but, I thought he showed a lot of heart, a lot of toughness. He did end up dropping that third round, and but I will say Ralston is pretty tough, and he's huge. And in this fight, there wasn't as much of a size difference. Abdallah, he's also not like the most physically imposing. I mean, he's a little soft, but at the same time, he is a big guy. Everybody's going to be bigger than Torres in this division. And he seems pretty strong. Doesn't have the best wrestling, but, can just use his strength combined with some, basic wrestling to defend some of these shots. But I do think, Torres Finney probably is able to take him down. So it's more a matter of, can he get back up? I don't think he's a submission threat off his back. Not that in this division is something you really want to rely on. But, I think, on the feet, he probably is the better striker. I mean, Torres is also just, man, he's just winging big old overhands and looking to set up that single leg. But, I think Er-Ramy could catch him with something on the feet. I can't knock anybody taking a shot on the underdog because, I do feel like Torres, man, he's a little limited. It's tough, man, with his build. Honestly, it really is. He'd probably honestly have to go down to 170 and just lose a little weight. He'd be small for that weight class too, man, frame-wise. It's crazy, but, in this fight, I think he should win. I think he wins. I just don't know if he gets the finish, but I'm going to say he does. I'm going to say he gets the knockout. Probably another ground and pound finish, but, maybe he just weathers him out with the grappling and then knocks him out on the feet. But, it's tough. I'm going to say ground and pound again, man. Let's hope these guys get to go to their grappling, because if they don't, it could get dicey. We move on to the next fight, though. David Martinez taking on Xavier Franklin. And this is interesting, man. I'm going to get outright and just say it because it's something that you're probably going to hear. David Martinez is an orthopedic surgeon. This dude's like that required. I don't know. I think he's already gone through medical school, but I mean, he did that during his career, or maybe he's still finishing it up because I know that takes forever. Dude, that's pretty impressive, but gotta say it's a little bit of a red flag. I mean, of course, like that's a lot to balance, man. Like Jesus, this guy's got to be single, but he does have a lot of fights, and he's been fighting at Combate Global. I'm not gonna lie to you and say it's the highest level guys, but neither guys really fought like the best guys. But they both look good, man. David Martinez obviously twice the amount of fights, but had a decent promotion. Combate, at least they're pretty reputable. But it's funny how off these stats were, though, because David Martinez is definitely the bigger guy. Xavier's pretty small, honestly. He's probably like legit 5'3", 5'4". He's not even 5'5". This dude's small. Probably is gonna need to go down to flyweight in the UFC, man. It's just not. I just don't see it. I will say he's going to come forward most likely, which works well for his style, and he is explosive. Looks to have some decent grappling and wrestling. He's aggressive. He's confident. So, I can't knock anybody taking a shot on the dog, but for me, I just feel like David Martinez, man, yes, the surgeon stuff does scare me, but, first of all, like, look, I don't like to get into this too much, but the reality is he is just the bigger guy. He is, like, especially if they get into the second half of the fight, like that, I think that could start to wear on Franklin. And I think he can matador Xavier a little bit. Like, yeah, he might have to fight off the back foot, which isn't something I tend to bet on, but I do feel like in this fight I have a hard time seeing Xavier just hold him down or like take him down and submit him. I think that submission would be more likely than him just holding him down. So, if David Martinez can just protect his back, I think he can get back up and, just outstrike and matador Xavier. And I bet him at minus 155. First bet on the card, you can still get that line. I just think he's a better guy, more suited for the weight class. Looks like a bantamweight. Has fought some decent guys. Not the highest level, don't get me wrong, but some decent enough guys at a decent enough promotion with more experience. I think he gets it done. Line's not too bad. I just think he gets it done. I'm not going to get too cute with any props. I honestly think it's probably a decision. So that does scare me a little. I'm betting a little chalk in Dana White Contender Series, a fight that goes to decision against, a guy who's got heart, and, is confident. That's a good mixture for a well-rounded guy. But I just think David's better, man. Give me David by decision. We move on to the co-main event. Alberto Morales taking on Carlos Calderon. Calderon. I don't know why this is the co-main event, to be honest. The last fight should have at least been the co-main event. Or realistically, I would have done the last fight as the main event, probably. But they probably want to put the big boys in. Hey, it's been working out for him, man. I shouldn't complain. These shows have been great. But Alberto, I do feel like, you saw, first of all, he's got this full camp. Train over at the Goat Shed. Them dudes are crazy. Carlos getting in some work at Team Elevation. And he's got his high-altitude martial arts. So 2 different gyms out there he's been working out of. I think he does most of his work. I think it's the other way around unless he's switched that up. I think this is kind of his primary gym, but he probably goes here for just the fight camp. But, in this fight, both guys like to grapple. It's probably going to turn into a grappling match. At least that's what we want. Honestly, with these guys, it's what we want. Because neither guy have the best striking. I do feel like Alberto probably more pop to his shots. Especially full training camp. You saw him at the weigh-ins. He's looking way more prepared. Dude's actually pretty jacked. Built like a stingray. And then Carlos over here just looks like a wet noodle, man. The short camp's not gonna help. And I think Alberto's also just got more power naturally. Stronger guy. Better wrestling. I think if they're gonna grapple, he's gonna be the one that I would trust to get on top. I think he can take Carlos down pretty easily. Maybe he doesn't have the best grappling takedown defense, so Carlos might be able to land a takedown of his own, but I'm going to trust Alberto to get on top. I think he should be the favorite. I think this is a tough ask for Carlos on short notice. I really don't think that the matchmakers think that this guy's UFC level, so I think that he's being brought in to get beat up. But, hey, crazier things have happened. He could latch something up as a sub, but I'm going to go Alberto. I think he probably gets the submission, man. I think he probably beats him up a little bit, mounts him, ground and pound, and then gets his back, chokes him. So give me Alberto by submission. It might even be round 1, but I'm going to say round 2, Alberto. Moving on to the main event, we got Nurgozhay taking on Bartosz Szewczyk. I want to say Bartosz Szewczyk or Savinsky. Who's that guy that already fights in the UFC? Anyways, we're gonna call him Bartosz. Dyer, pretty solid. More of a grappler, little stiff, little slow. Doesn't look again. I forgot who we were talking about earlier, but isn't the most physically imposing with the body type. Is a little soft, but hey, sometimes with these higher weight classes that suits guys. But I do feel like Bartosz a little bit more filled out. He's a big 205er. Looks like he's just, he's pretty jacked, but not like too much like it's gonna slow you down. Like he's got a good fit for MMA. DR here, decent enough wrestling, decent grappler, but it doesn't seem like he's just like, some world beater on the ground. First of all, look at some of the guys he's fighting, and then even this Magomedov, that's not, anybody you would really know. You're probably confusing him with somebody else. This guy, 12-4, but look at who he's beat. Fought 2 decent guys, got absolutely steamrolled. Well, honestly, DR didn't even really, it wasn't a steamrolling, but, did beat him. His striking's pretty robotic and slow and stiff, and I do feel like Bartosz could chop away at his legs, beat him up there. Dude, if this guy throws leg kicks, I think this could be pretty bad on the feet. And then his kicks in general are just better. Actually, I will say for a guy that not only looks like DR, but the way he fights and he's kind of slow, he can get his kicks up there. He will throw head kicks of his own. I just feel like, Bartosz is just quicker and, more athletic, better striker, better kicks to all 3 levels. He'll mix it up better. And, it's not just one and done like from DR. And then he's just like throwing friggin' crazy shots in the pocket, and then set up his wrestling. Like, I don't know. I think Bartos, as long as he doesn't get put on his back in the first 2-3 minutes, I think he can start chipping away with the kicks, especially if he goes to the legs and find a shot. Probably knock DR out, man. Honestly, I think Bartos finds the shot, beats up his legs, hopefully just, mix in those kicks and doesn't just box. Stuffs a couple takedowns, maybe gets taken down once or twice, but works his way back up and eventually finds a shot, gets the knockout. I bet Bartos as the underdog, plus 110. Maybe that line ends up getting wider, but you can still get that right now on Bovada. So I think he wins. I think he should be the favorite. I think he should be like minus 140, minus 150. So I'm gonna roll with him. Give me Bartos by knockout. Those are my picks, man. Those are my bets. Again, just 2 bets right now with Martinez on the money line, minus 155, and Bartos plus 110. It's a light so far for me. I'm gonna tweet out if I have any more, but it's a hard one because you guys know me. I'm not somebody who's a big parlayer trying to play a ton of props on a Dana White Contender Series card. Over-unders, this high variable with guys that are this green, and you got to see more info to really be betting props, in my opinion. So, I like to stick to the money line. It's been working really great for us. We've been on a roll with Contender Series, so I'm not going to force plays. If I see any more that I want to play, I'll tweet it out. I've been eyeing the props a little bit. I do feel like Finney, Jacoby, and Montes win, but, I'm just not really a parlay guy. It's just not my thing, but if you want to, you can. Good luck. Like the video. Let me know who your favorite underdog is. Subscribe. Post notifications. I will catch you guys Wednesday night you'll see me Tuesday, tomorrow, for my UFC 307 full card breakdown. But then Wednesday, catch me live with DFS by the numbers and Evan to square them down to see who has the best bets for UFC 307. I will catch you guys then. Peace.